Hello. So hello and welcome to this live Google Business Profile audit. And we are very excited to be joined by the very wonderful and lovely Andy Simpson from Digital Law Marketing. So Andy is going to be auditing several Google Business Profiles from the legal industry and beyond. So remember that this session is recorded, and you will get the recording into your inbox straight away, and you can also find it on the YouTube channel. So if, when we finish today, you want to continue the conversation once the webinar is finished, then you must join our amazing Facebook community group, which is called the Local Pack, where you can chat with 4,000 other local marketers, ask your questions, have your questions answered, answer other people's questions, and connect with lots of lovely people in local. So let's say hello to Andy. There he is. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Claire. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Lovely to have you here. Do you want to give an introduction to the wonderful Andy Simpson? There he is.
Well, it actually says there that I've been here almost 10 years. I've been here 10 years. I live in the US now. I'm from Leeds in the UK. So if you don't understand my accent, I apologize. I'm not Australian. I'm from the north of England. So I know I've been here 10 years now. I can't believe it. We only came over for 2 or 3 years and I'm still here. I work for Digital Law Marketing. Have a guess at what we do. We do digital marketing for legal firms across the country, across the US, that is. We're very bespoke. We only deal with one attorney in a city and or state. So we don't have more than one client in a particular city, because that's not really fair on the other client. Anyway, so I've been doing that for seven or eight years now. And back in the UK, I had my own web design company, which for well over 10 years. My first website was 1996. SEO, I think we've talked about it back in the day, Claire. We're quite early SEOs when it wasn't even called SEO. So I've been doing it a while. And now I find myself just in the legal market. So that's why we're mainly 99% of the listings we're looking at are legal. I just wanted to show that I'm not just a one-horse pony and just do legal. So we are looking at a computer firm, a computer repair firm as well. So just Perfect. As a little side spin. So
brilliant. Thank you.
We haven't got several. I've got 13 to plow through.
This is true. This is true. So we have had a couple of these live GBP audits before, where our guests have taken a couple of businesses and run through their individual processes for auditing that business's Google Business Profile. So everyone does it differently, and everyone might be doing it for different reasons. So that could be from a perspective of identifying strengths and weaknesses within the profile. It could be because they're looking at the competitive landscape. It could be because they're trying to understand the local search opportunity in a particular niche. So that's the context. And today, like you already said, we're going to mix it up a little bit because we are very lucky, and Andy is going to have a little look. We've got a big bunch of businesses, so 12 or 13. And so you are going to give us a really good top level overview of your own processes for auditing, looking at 2 or 3 points from each of those businesses. So we've already said you specialize in law. So we are super lucky to be able to niche into that and focus on that with you. So before the webinar, BrightLocal gave businesses a chance to submit their businesses, and they did that. We had lots of them. So that's what we're going to dive into. So our lovely audience, all of our listeners and watchers, if you want to ask a question, we're happy to answer them throughout if they're relevant to what Andy is speaking about at that exact moment. And I will interject and I will pose your question to Andy. Now, if there is time, we will also run through a little bit of Q&A at the end. But because we're really just going to really pack in this information into this session, let's see how we go. So ask your questions in the live chat, just put in Q plus your question, and then we'll answer as many as we can. So we just want you to enjoy and to learn lots of things. So Andy has got a couple of slides to introduce the audit, and then we're going to kick off with the first site. So over to you, Andy.
Thank you, Claire. Right, I'm just going to add to that as well. The companies that I am covering, you can have a pen and pencil ready, but obviously it's being recorded. But I'm also going to send forward via BrightLocal. I'm going to be sending my notes on to you as well. So just sit back and enjoy the chaos that's going to happen. I now do the classic. Can you see my screen? Let me present. Oh dear, so many windows.
So many windows.
Share screen. There we go. Now I do have a lot of tabs open. So please tell me if you don't actually see.
We're still looking at you, which is lovely. Oh, there we go.
There you go. I remembered it does take a... So I really want to just cover some basics before I dive in. These are some of the things I keep in mind when I'm looking at either a competitor's profile or a new client or our clients. Well, hopefully not our clients, because our clients should be all up to scratch. So a lot of people, and listening now, want to know what the ranking factors are. So I've come up with this little mnemonic to remember what the... Now I think there's 8 local ranking factors for your Google business profile. Okay, and that's the mnemonic I use. So we use the C and the R and the A and the da, and we come up with that. So what do the letters mean? So these are the 8 ranking local factors that affect your Google business profile. And it's these factors particularly that we're going to be looking at when we do this audit for the GBP profiles. Okay, good. Location is going to be mentioned, doesn't get talked about enough. I'm a bit of a big location fan when it comes to office position. What we are seeing here now, I'm assuming or presuming that many people watching today know what a local search grid is. Now, this is actually taken from Local Falcon, just for speed. But on the left-hand side, we have a PI client in Miami. And you can see they had a very limited local ranking influence for personal injury across downtown Miami. We suggested that they move. They did move, and now they've moved to a southwest area of Miami. And now we can see that they're dominating the local search because they've moved location. Now, the office had 100+ reviews, but they were surrounded by very, very strong competition. So we bailed and we moved. So location is a big one. I do mention it a few times with some of the audits I'm looking at. The next slide, it's not always about reviews. Now, this company, our client in Phoenix, now it is a personal injury related search term. This client's listing, because they've only just set it up, has 0 reviews, but they're ranking at number 1 across Phoenix, across the map there. That actually does spread out further, but I think you get the idea. It's not always about reviews when it comes to ranking your Google business profile in the 3-pack. And we're going to look at your profile. I think a lot of people forget to look at that profile in mobile. So look at your GBP performance stats and look at the amount of traffic that you're getting from mobile and desktop. We can see for this particular client that mobile is dominating. So mobile, what people see on their mobile phone is the main profile. It's not what you see on desktop. And you do see different things on mobile compared to desktop. So keep that in mind as well. So again, we're going to be looking at both while we do this. And I think that is it for the slides. I can ditch that. And we can dive straight in. So I'm going to dive. I've just got something niggling me that there was something else. but not to worry. I'm going to dive straight in to a family law attorney firm. They're called Bair Family Law in Ontario. Ontario, and anyway, I'm not.
We know Canada, where you mean, yeah.
You know where in Canada,
yeah.
Ontario, Canada. Family law. Now, this one is for. This one's for Jen. She wrote in, and her question was, we'd like to get in the top 3 of the local results for Barrie in Ontario. So, looking at the profile, let's dive in. This is the first one. I would start in with a bit of a bonus. You've got keywords in the business name, so that is a good start. You've got a nice selection of photographs.
Going to stop you there, Andy. We're still looking at your slides.
That's fine, because that's probably
okay. You haven't changed. You have okay, fine.
No, I have, but it didn't follow along suit. So let me just get over this technical. Stop screen. Present. Oh, there we go. Tell you what, I'll choose window and not tab.
Yes.
There we go. Good. That was my user error.
Okay.
Are we back? We should see Bair Family Law.
We can see Bair Family Law. Thank you.
Good. So this is the listing. Now I'm going to look at this in 3 ways. I'm going to look at the website. So I'm interested in the website. I'm interested in how they appear on the local on maps. So to get to this screen, all I have to do is click on the map on there. Can you see my mouse moving? And that will open. If you middle click on your mouse, that opens up in Google Maps, so I can see the profile on Maps. So let's go through the desktop. We've got keywords. I've said already the family law. That's great. They're using family law as their primary category, which is excellent. But what they want to do is get into the 3-pack. So for this one, I ran a local grid scan using BrightLocal. So let's look at that. So again, this is for family law Barrie. Now they're not doing too badly to start with. No, not obviously, because it's not always the case. They're ranking very well at their actual location, but they're really close to ranking in the top 3 across Barrie. So they're in position 4 in many places. So again, just brief, I'll just go over it once. Let me just put this in the chat, actually, just to explain what a local search grid is, because some of you might not know. If somebody does a local search across the town, say from here, and they did a search for family law Barrie, the Bair law firm is not appearing in the 3-pack. They're actually down in position 5. We've got 3 other competitors above us. And you can do that. And so this shows the scan across the town or the city. And it's a really good way of monitoring your progress over time. So if we make some changes, you can see if these have a positive effect by trying to move into the grid. Right. That's all I'm going to say about the local grid. So let's see who we're up against. So let's have a look at a number 4 position. We are up against these 3, and these 3, Galbraith, Maru, and Owen appear. Let me just go back to the map. They appear all the time. If you look at the 4s, that's typically who we're behind. So to answer, going back to Jen's question, I want to get into the 3-pack. Now, this company appears above you, but they've only got 53 reviews, which is a bit odd, but they have a higher rating. Now, your rating is also a very important factor where Google decides you to place you. So I would recommend more reviews and to really try and nudge that rating figure up into above, to equal or above Owen Associates, who you're behind. So that's working on reviews. Let's go back to your profile. Now, your website, the landing page that you actually click through to is also very important. And it is one of those ranking factors that we looked at. Now, the problem, is it a problem? Well, it is a problem. The problem with the landing page is, now remember, you're trying to rank for Barry in Canada. Now, Barry, what I'm going to do now is going to do a Control F and search for the word Barry, is only mentioned 2 times on the homepage. So the page you're linking to, which is really important when it comes to the GBP, only mentions Barry twice, and none of the mentions are in a H1 or a H2 header. So I would look at your website and feature that more. So I'm going to use another extension which shows me the headers that are being used on the page. This extension is the SEO Pro X. I know what the chat's like. What's that extension Andy's using? So it's this one. There's the Pro extension. There are many available. I like this one, but other extensions.
It's the best one. Yeah, we love Christina.
So we can see that the H1 doesn't include Barry, and none of the H2s do either. We really need to, if you're trying to rank for Barry Family Law, Barry Divorce, Barry Associated Practice Areas, they really need to be in your H1 headers, your H2 headers. The other thing, this doesn't link through to, it's very nice, it's picturesque, it's got information on there, but there's only one link through. So Google's going to come to your Google business page, follow the link, and then follow the links that is linking coming, from that landing page. And on the page content itself, you've only got one link to the divorce options. So I would recommend that you have links from this page linking to all your other different services. Now, I know you say, well, I've got them in the navigation. Google's not following that. It's following the text links on the page itself. So it's the landing page needs a little bit of barrying up a little bit more with that geo-specific. And I think that could, now even making that small change, I could call it a small change, could be enough just to get you past and get you from a 4 to a 3. Let me just show you. So I did say we look at the desktop and we also look at the mobile. So how do I look at this simply on the mobile? I right click, I choose inspect, I refresh the page, and then Google will show me the listing. Now this is near enough what it looks like. Sometimes there are a few modifications that are slightly different. Now, if you don't see that at first, if you can just see in the top where my mouse is here, you need to choose this option here, because if you've not done this before, it's the device toolbar, and then you can change to different mobile phones, something like that. Yeah. And now you have a mobile phone view of what your profile looks like. Now, this is a good way of checking your services that Google introduced last year, which is, again, a local ranking factor, your services. It's a good way of looking at your services. My recommendation here is check, because Google is always updating this list itself and recommending changes that if you don't keep on top of this, this list can be out of control. I'd also recommend that you just try and test a few, add Barry to some of these. So Barry Child Custody Services, Barry Child Support, Barry this, that, and the other, and just see if they are better than just the family law, family meditation services that are recommended. Don't go crazy unless you see them working. So was there anything? I think the big thing for me was work on your reviews, work on that rating and the landing page. I think if you tick those boxes, you're going to see improvement in where you're ranking locally. Anything else? Yes. It's not a ranking factor, but again, let me come out of, and then to come out of mobile view, just close that window and refresh the page, and it will go back to desktop mode in a second. There we go. The top tip is you have, and now this applies to a lot of the audits we're going to look at today. So when I say you could work on your questions, you've got 2 questions asked there, but none of them, you can have a question appear on your business profile when somebody's looking at it like this. At the moment, the user has to click on questions to view what the questions are. You can populate this yourself, so you as a business can add more questions. But you can also have a question appear on your profile. And how you do that is go back to questions. You might not want to do this. I'm not going to do it because it's going to affect what does or doesn't. If you want a question to appear, you just have to like the question 3 times from 3 different Google accounts. And as soon as you've done that, within maybe 10 minutes, that question will appear on your Google business profile. Okay, so 3 times, give it a like, 3 different Google accounts, job done. You're going to have that question. So choose a good question to have as your featured question. We've got some businesses coming up and they've got like, I think there's one with 60 questions or 20 questions, something, a lot, and none of them are featured. Anyway, so I will move on.
Cool. I think we've got one question here, which is quite relevant. So Simon is asking, how do you choose services for your business? I have seen X car accident legal help, but then also best car accident lawyer near me. Spammy, but does it work? Any?
So if you've seen them, then it's working for that particular listing that you've seen it for. So I'm guessing is it working? Well, yes, because it's worked for, if you're seeing your competitor. Now, don't forget the services. You don't just have to do this on your own profile. You can go over to your competition that might have and look at their services and see if they're appearing. So if they're ranking higher than you and you see that they're showing odd looking services that you think may or may not work, why you can use the same services, just copy and paste and add it to your list of services in your listing. I think a lot of the time you're not going to get penalized for spamming your services, but certainly test. Don't go mad and suddenly add 30 new services because only 3 of them are going to work. So it's a lot of things like this. It's test. Right.
Cool. Can I just add one thing, Simon? I would say what you need to do is go into services and see if Google is suggesting any of the predefined, because it's the predefined services that potentially could, we're not just talking about ranking, we're talking about conversion, but it's the predefined that could have an impact on ranking. And I would just see the whole services part through a lens of, is this going to be useful for someone that is trying to decide what business to work with? So I wouldn't spam it and fill it full of keywords. I'd make it sort of be like almost like a menu of what you do and what you offer. So yeah, that would be what I would say about that. Should we go on to the next one?
We're on to number 2 now. I'm ahead of you there. So because I'm sure that people were only interested for so long. Let me just get my links. I've got that. I've got it. No, we're good. Let me just close the other ones because otherwise we go tab crazy. So Stepter Law, employment attorney in Columbus, Ohio, submitted by Fabod. So thank you for that. They do have 2 offices in Columbus, but only one has GBP. And they do have an office in Dublin, but that doesn't have a GBP either. So we're only going to look at the one. And the question, the feedback for this listing was rankings have only marginally improved over several months, need additional ideas. So here they are. So reviews, you've got 4 reviews. Now, a big thing with reviews is get more than 10. Aim for more than 10. Having more than 10 reviews seems to switch something within the local search, and it seems to increase your visibility having over 10 reviews. So you really want to be aiming for 10 or more. I think Amy and I know is in the chat, I think we call it the magic 10. So trying to get clients over that magic 10, we see a progression and an increase in visibility. So work on your reviews. I am going to open this. I'm going to come to the website in a minute, but I'm going to open up the maps listing, and I'm going to look at your competition. So a quick way, you can do it 2 ways, but I prefer, yes, while I've got this on the screen, I've got is it the Bleeper? Is it Bleeper? Is that the Bleeper app?
Is it Bleeper?
On the right-hand side of my screen right now, you will see Bleeper.
There we go then, lush.
There you go. So I whacked it in there. Now, your category, you've only got employment attorney. I think you could at least add law firm legal services along with that. I'm assuming you don't do PI or anything else. You're just focusing on employment law, which is fine. So if I want to see who is around, if I want to see Stepter competition, I would click on nearby, and then I would just type in there employment attorney. And then in that local area, we will see other firms. So this is the I was going to call, this is the big boy in the area that this is your biggest competition to the north of you. Now they've only got 23 reviews. Now I know you've only got 4, but they're the people that you want to be aiming for initially. So 23 and more, you want to be aiming to beat. And then I think you'll have quite a good local presence in the north part of Columbus, of where you actually are. You're not going to dominate down here because you're not down here. Again, it's about location. But I think if you work hard on your reviews, you can go toe to toe with this guy up in the north here. Anything else I want to say about that on this view? Let me just check my notes. Yes, here's a thing. Let me just check to make sure. Now, these guys, opening hours. Now, being in the local world, more and more legal firms are changing their listings to 24 hours. 20 hours, opening hours is a ranking factor. I'll be brief. If you close at 5, but your competitor stays open for 24 hours, because they're still open, will appear higher than you in the 3-pack, or when somebody's looking for, in this example, employment attorney. Because you've closed the door, you've closed at, I think you closed at 5 o'clock or something. Let me just try, whatever your time. So consider, there you go, you close at 6. Your competitor closes at, I've lost that completely now, at 4. But to compete against in the local area, you might want to think about trying to open up for 24 hours. Now, I know I've got Amy in the chat, so she's going to bail me out here and help me. It's not a penalty, but to be open for 24 hours, you've got to have a person, not just an answer machine, to be able to answer the phone within that 24-hour period. Okay? And then you can change your hours to open 24 hours a day. This 24-hour thing is quite a thing for some other attorneys as well, where everybody else closes at 5. Just change your hours to 24 hours, and then you'll be open when they're closed, and you will rank in the 3-pack because you're open. Very briefly on this one, it's the landing page. Again, it's not your website. It's light. It doesn't really drive home Columbus. Okay, there's not a lot of content on there. It's not pointing to your different practice areas. Your title tag also needs addressing a little bit because it says main home. You don't often see home in the title tag anymore. You really want to be putting your Columbus geo in that title tag there, and also your headers. So going back to my extension, let's look at headings. I don't think Columbus is mentioned once in any of the headings. So again, you might just want to address how strong your landing page is as well. Right, how are we doing for time? Gosh, all right, let's crack on. Any questions? I
think there's a couple of questions coming up regarding, can I be penalised for being 24 hours, or how does anyone check? And I think the biggest thing is your competitors will definitely let Google know if you're not answering the phone.
Now, if I'm wrong, I know there's many experts in the chat today. It's not it's not a suspension. Am I right looking at the chat?
Yeah, I think, we'll find out, won't you?
Well, what you will find typically is that your competitors will just change to 24 hours. So then you're in the same, everybody's 24 hours. So you might have 2 or 3 weeks head start, but then you might find that your competition has just changed to 24 hours as well, whether they can or not.
Yeah. Okay.
Just very finally on this one, you've got no questions and answers. Fill in your Q&A. It's really, really helpful for users. You can post questions. You can answer the questions that you've posted. And again, give them the 3 thumbs up and you can have your questions answering on there. Let me move on to Alfredo, as I want to say, but it's not. Alfredo, and he is in Florida. And he is a criminal justice attorney in Coral Gables, which is in Florida, which is just on the outskirts. It's in Miami, for the UK. It's Miami. It's just a burb of Miami is Coral Gables, which we'll be looking at in a minute. Let's just look at we've got his Google listing. Let's look at his website. Now, this is the example, Claire, where I mentioned about the UTM codes. Some of the other listings weren't using UTM tracking. Now, forget UTM tracking is not a ranking factor and blah, 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 but it's a way to monitor. I'm talking about UTMs when I've got the expert with me. This particular example, Claire, they use the UTM code, and we can see, if you can see in the UTM, they've got campaign equals GMB. So they've got no source, they've got no anything else. Do you want to just speak on that UTM code, saying that you're
super duper quickly? So Andy, completely right, good call. Add UTM tagging from any link that appears in your Google business profile to see the traffic from your Google business profile, whatever surfaces it's showing in. You can see it in Google Analytics. You can also see the queries that are triggering your Google business profile details in Search Console. So I'm not going to describe how to do it. There is, Jenny's just done a link in the chat to a piece that I wrote, which has got a super handy template where you just drop your URL in. So basically, if you haven't already UTM tagged up your links from your Google business profile, then please do so. And then you can just use the template in the article. Thank you very much for mentioning that, Andy.
No problem. Now, typically, because I'm doing this live, they were appearing in the 3-pack, but today they're not appearing in the 3-pack. He was.
Maybe they closed.
Now, I actually think I changed my location to Miami, and then I did a search, and there he was. So typically, this live example, because I've said not bad, appears in the 3-pack for Coral Gables criminal attorney. But in this example, he's not right now. So he actually, there he is. Yes. So it's a slightly different. I was seeing him, and it was because his reviews, he's up in the north part of the Coral Gables. So his listing was appearing. It's to be honest, it's not a bad profile, and I don't have a lot to say about this because I said, he's got 50 reviews. He does have competition north and south, so it's always reviews. His website is very good. It's got a lot of good content. It could be maybe a little bit more, maybe a few more links to the services that they do. But let me just, because this is a favorite of mine, let's look at the headings on the website. There. So the H1, perfect, bang. That's exactly what he does in the can. So it's a good listing. Work on your reviews. Work on your posts. Check your services. But it's a pretty good listing. I think where he is competitively, he's got to really just keep an eye on his competitors to the north and south of him. Right, RJT Criminal Lawyer. So we do have another one, Criminal Lawyer in. There we go. In San Diego. Went there last year. That's where Brighton SEO is. Can highly recommend Brighton SEO in San Diego. Fantastic for all the Americans that are watching. But anyway, I digress. What did I say? So the question, this is submitted by Michael. The question, the feedback, we are having issues ranking in the local 3-pack. Now, I actually did a scan grid for these guys. So let me just go to that. So I used BrightLocal again. And let me just paste that in there. Now, I think a lot of these things you'll find that the listings usually pretty good. It's the landing page that's letting them down. But we'll come to that in a second. So for ranking locally in your part of the world, in San Diego, so this is for San Diego Criminal Lawyer. Not bad. So I'm sure if I did the grid larger, so let's just pan backwards. So in North San Diego, Northeast San Diego, you're ranking pretty well. Let me just change that term to Criminal Lawyer. Again, you're doing even better locally. So you're not doing bad, even though you're up against, let's just have a look at who you're up against there. You're up against these two guys who have got far more reviews than you. You've got the same rating. Now I'm putting that down to having keywords in your business name. So well done. It's keeping you ahead of your two local competitors. However, there is one thing I do want to point out to you. Now, just a quick thing. You'll see when I'm doing the keywords, I'm using implicit and explicit keywords in my searches. So I'm using family law, which is implicit, and not family law, that's my example. And then I'm also using the name of the city as well. So it's nice to have a mix of keywords when you're doing these scan grids. And then we've got an explicit one with the name of the town or city that you're in, just to get a nice mix of results, because you can see that the scans are different. Let's just do that near me. Again, you're doing pretty well. Okay, so what's wrong with this listing? The listing's pretty good. Keep working at it. Your website, we said there's no UTM code, but it's your landing page that I have a concern with. Let me just close out these. I click through, and when I go to the website, now this is possibly part of the problem. I see that, which is also already a concern, and then it goes to the website. Your page speed is not great. I think you really need to address your page speed. Because remember, when Google follows that link through to your website, it's going to follow that link, and the Google thing, the little spidery, whatever it is, will get bored, and it could mark you down. I think if you work on your page speed, you're going to see even better results in that local 3-pack. That was the big takeaway, your page speed. All right, so GetMediation is the next one. And these are our friends in Bristol, I believe. Yes, GetMediation. I will get to the point, Claire, so I don't waffle too much. Here's the maps. There we go. Now, let me trim this down. What was the main concern? Yeah, okay. There's no UTM tracking on your appointments or your website link. Yes, here we go. Look, here's the example I was talking about. Your Q&A, you've got 60 questions there. Some of those could be really, really valuable to the potential client, and we don't see any of the questions. So you want to go in there. I think the good thing is you have actually posted questions as the business, and you've answered them as the business, which is fine, but you haven't liked a particular question, so it's not appearing on your profile. So at least get one of, and it will only be one, get one question to appear on your profile, again, perhaps to draw people's attention to that area. So the killer thing was there's no posts. You stopped earlier in the year. Don't forget, attributes are also, don't forget you can add, now attributes are also a ranking factor. So is this, I've got them written down here, so it's not like I'm remembering them. Is your business Asian owned, Black owned, disabled owned, indigenous owned, Latino owned, LGBTQ plus, veteran or woman owned? They are ranking factors for specific queries. So female divorce lawyers near me, if you've attributed your business to being woman owned, you will appear above, sometimes, typically, not all the time, above a business that hasn't identified as being woman owned. It is a tick in the box for you over other businesses. So see if any of those attributes apply to you. Let me just paste them in the chat. Bosh. That didn't come out very well, but you get the idea. But yes, so the big thing with this one is it's the landing page. It's the link that you're clicking through to. It clicks through to the home page, but personally, I think it should click through to the Bristol page because it's the Bristol listing. So things on here are more Bristol related rather than your generic homepage. And then this page, and you do have it on the website because I've been nosing around, you do have Bristol related content about the services that you offer, but there's no links to that content from this page. So I would recommend you change your link to this one, and on this page, you update to have links off to the services that you're trying to reach. That was the biggie for that one. Okay. Susan Karpa. Why did I put that in? Here's the next one. Susan Karpa, criminal defense lawyer. I will take you to her. Let me. Submitted criminal defense lawyer in Calgary. Submitted by Susan. Now, her question, I think, was a bit more organic, search related. So I'm just going to critique the profile. And my notes were, she does actually so again, I'm going to go to the map view. she does pretty, I thought this was something else, but not to worry, nearby. So I'm going to do nearby criminal. I'm going to see where her competition is. Because again, now I know I might sound a little bit repetitive, but was this the 24 hours? Sorry, folks. Yes. So this was the 24 hours one again. Your competition was closing at 5 or 6. So again, you might want to, so you appear open, you might want to keep it, even though that you do have opening early and closing late, you might want to play about with that and have it showing that you're open 24 hours. So that was the big one for this listing, but also the landing page of the website. It wasn't very, or was it? Oh yeah, headers. There we go. You've got one Calgary header, and then that's it. So you don't really hammer the home. Well, you do. You don't hammer the home. You're in Calgary. Is it Ontario? Yes. So there's that. And you want more links off to, sorry, I'm scrolling up and down. You want more links off to your services. Don't always rely on your navigation that's where the spiders are going to follow. You want to be pointing to more of your practice areas. All right. So that is Susan Karpa. I'm going to jump to, because this is an unusual. Now, a lot of the ones I've not covered today, I will be getting back to, and I'll come back to. There's one that I've never really seen before, and it is from Fairway Divorce Solutions. Now, this was an unusual one, and the comment, this was submitted by Michelle, Solutions again in Calgary. So this is the firm, and the comment which set off alarm bells was, we launched a new website and have noticed leads coming in from the location has gone down. We are looking for ways to improve leads for the Calgary location. So what's happened? It's a great profile. They've got products on here. They've got the appointments link. They've got questions. Again, you're not showing a question. So 3 thumbs up. What's the big thing here? Because again, if we look on the map, they're ranking very well, but they've lost positioning. I'll tell you what the reason is. Big drum roll on this one. This page that it links through to, fantastic. It's the Calgary page. Have more links to Calgary related content. However, you're going to love this one, folks. If you have a look in Google's index, site : what does that mean? Google does not know that this page exists. So therefore, when Google follows that link there, they're going to see a man fishing, which basically means Google, it's not in Google's index. So when you did your new website, your new pages have not been indexed yet. I'd really jump into Google Search Console and see what the issue is. See what's being indexed and not. What's the phrase in the index? Blah blah blah. Found but not indexed, or indexed but not showing, or whatever the term is. I can't remember. So see what's going on with that page.
Yeah, check with your developer to make sure that robots.txt isn't blocking the.
I've checked the robots.txt file. It's fine.
Oh,
that means the robots.txt file. For those that don't know, it's you can tell Google what pages to index and what not to index. So that was the first thing I checked, and that the robots text is actually fine. This is why I would guess. No. I would say this is the why you've lost rankings for your Calgary listing, because Google doesn't even know anything about the business now when it follows that link through to your website. So this really does need fixing. Short-term fix, change it to your homepage. But as soon as you know that Calgary page has been indexed, redirect that link and point it to your Calgary page. So that was a big find for you. How are we doing? Are we good, Claire?
We are good. I reckon at the spit we can probably do another 2. Let's have a look. See how we get on.
Okay. I'm going to do the Rogers Law Firm in Eureka. Not many people are going to get that reference, Claire.
Let's just crack on.
In Eureka, Missouri. It was submitted by Karpa, so thank you. So we're looking at the listing there. Now, this was an interesting question. Getting the right types of leads. Ones looking for traffic law help in Missouri would like to reach those in Hannibal MO with red light tickets, CDL drivers tickets, want to stop the people wanting a divorce attorney or business attorney. So she wants more leads from Hannibal MO. Okay, so let's see. I have no idea. Is that right? The Rogers? Yeah. Let's go to the website. Let me just make sure. I've got so many here. So they're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I want to know where Hannibal MO is. No, this can't be right. I'm sorry, folks. I think I've got that was businesses with the same business name. There we go. Here we go. Come on. Sorry, folks. Here we go. The Rogers Law Firm. Okay. There we go. Okay, so apologies for that. Let me open up the map. Now.
Do you want to close your history to the side, or do you need that?
No, we're good. Okay. So there, now Eureka is here. So where on earth is Hannibal MO? So, because that's where we want. So let's just do that. Now Hannibal is where she wants a few more leads from, is 100 miles away. So unfortunately, because we're down here, Karpa, we're very organically in the search results. You might get lucky and have some Hannibal rankings. I actually have checked some of your content, and you do rank for Hannibal, red light, tickets, blah, blah, blah. But if you want your 3-pack, which was what we're talking about, your GBP to appear, you ain't going to appear because you're 106 miles away by car. So unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Just some advice on your listing. You've got your main category as just attorney. You might want to switch that around to and have criminal justice attorney, because if you do a search for criminal justice in that local area, criminal justice attorney, and you've got 25 reviews, your local, and I'll do in quotes, if I click on there, I'll see if they've got themselves as if I click on that, it'll come clear what I do. Legal services. The reason they're listing is because they've got more categories set than you have. You can see here the categories they've set, even though they're legal services. But what I'm saying is, or trying to say is, if you change your primary category to criminal law, you would dominate this local area, because there is no one out here, criminal justice attorney. There is no other criminal justice attorney out here. So you're not going to penetrate St. Louis, but on the outskirts of town, because you've got 25 reviews, you're going to dominate you're going to dominate this side. Probably not that guy, but you're going to do very, very well if you edit your primary category from attorney to criminal justice. Do we have time for one more very quickly?
I think we do. Last one.
Now, I apologize that I've not got through them all, but when I went through the list, I went, oh, I can help that one, I can help that person, and my list got bigger and bigger. Let me just... So the computer guy, apologies, but I will send you my notes. Yes, the UK one, very quickly. Right, sorry, I should have covered this one. Osborne Law, a UK legal company. They've got a great question. They want to rank for they've got their main category set to law firm. I'm going to rush through this one because it's very important. They're a law firm in London, submitted by Matt. So thank you. Now, even though they do personal injury, they do divorce, they do family law, they do the whole lot, but they will always appear behind. So if they're trying to, they've got 270 reviews, which is amazing, but they'll always typically maybe appear position 2, 3, 4, whatever, behind the company that have got the primary category. So if a company have got personal injury lawyer, they'll appear behind personal injury lawyer because their main category isn't personal injury lawyer or divorce lawyer. But if you look, they've got all the categories set, but they're trying to appear for all those different services. So what do? I had a thought to myself. I thought, WWJHD, what would Joy Hawkins do? And it came to me, I thought, I know what she would suggest. That you would create practitioner listings. So on your website, you've got, or probably do have, a head of personal injury, a head of family law, a head of property. You would take the top person and create a Google business profile, which is a practitioner listing. And then you would say, this is just the personal injury lawyer. This person is just divorce. But the problem with that is you're starting from 0 reviews. You then have to build up the reviews for each one of those profiles. And that's how you can start to appear for the different practice areas from one location. Did that make sense?
Did.
But that's the workaround. Or what I would test, because I'm a bit of a tester, maybe one week you change your primary category to personal injury and see if the phone rings, does that work? And then change it to divorce and change it to family law and just play about with your primary category and see what fluctuation you might get in your local search and things like that. So that's the quick fix. I think the long-term fix would be to create the practitioner listings.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm going to stop you there.
I'm really, I've run out of time. I'm really sorry.
You don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. Andy, I just wanted to say thank you so much for giving up your time today and for doing all of the research beforehand. You've been so kind. And it's really, really nice of you to say that you're going to get back in touch with the people that have submitted with a couple of your key points. So absolutely huge thank you to you for being selfless and lovely and so freely sharing all of your insight. I also want to say a big thank you to everyone in the chat because you've been so engaged. Sorry we haven't got round to answering everyone's questions, but you've been such a lovely, lovely bunch of people to be here with your, really thinking, and it's really nice. There's loads of different people that are obviously working with law practices. So thank you a gazillion, everyone that's been here today. So, and Andy, that was brilliant. So make sure that you follow Andy on X or Twitter or whatever you're choosing to call it.
Twitter. It'll always be Twitter.
Okay, always Twitter to you. So a brilliant thank you to everyone. Just a reminder that if you want to level up your local SEO skills, you can enroll on the BrightLocal Academy because there are free courses on business listings, competitor analysis, service pages, location page optimization, and loads more, with loads coming soon. So another thing, stay up to date with the latest news. Make sure that you sign up to the newsletter, BrightLocal, and then you will we'll send you a message to let you know when all of the webinars are on and what is coming up next. So just a huge thank you to you, Andy.
Thank you, Claire. It's been a pleasure. Nice to finally be interviewed by Claire
interviewed. Oh, we love you, Andy.
I think
we love you. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you all.